This podcast is part of the Listen Frederick Podcast Network. To learn more, visit listenfrederick.com.
Hey everybody, it's episode 75 of Beers in the Lot. You guys and I got into some good topics this week. We talked about fixing the All Star game and Johnny's ideas on how we can make that a little bit more interesting. We talked about Bobby Clarke's statements that he's made publicly recently about the Flyers being ruined. And Riggs proposed an interesting goalie trade. And we talked about a couple other possible goalie moves. So here we go.
What are you drinking there, Danny?
Got a winter lager, Sam Adams. It's winter. Why not?
Good old Smadams.
Fuck it, right?
Does it taste like the Boston lager?
Yeah, kind of. A little bit. Little bit.
It's just in a different season, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good old Sam Adams.
Good old Smadams.
So I saw Aaron pouring into a glass tonight. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm drinking one of my Green Mans again. The special amber ale that I got. I like that. It says it's ESB. Eric says that's extra special bitter. Whatever this is, I like it. So I'm drinking another. It's not that bitter to me, though. But it's good. What do you got, Riggs?
I have a double Delco Imperial Lager from 2SP up in Aston, Pennsylvania, Delaware County. So double Delco. Yeah, good stuff. Imperial Lager. So basically just a hopped up lager. It doesn't taste like Sam's Boston Lager. What do you have, John?
So I have a Sol Cerveza. So it's similar. I've had it before. It's similar to like a Corona, but better. I don't know.
Is it?
I actually think so. I think so. Every now and then. I mean, it's not an every week thing. It's just.
It's a good summertime beer.
Yeah, well.
He says with the road covered in ice.
Yeah. Also, it was in the fridge. I had nothing else.
Ah, okay.
There it is. And
the roads are covered in ice, so we can't go out and get beers. So
I know for a fact this isn't something that was just like hanging out in the fridge. Like this is something I get somewhat regularly. So like I know it's not super old. It's like that always frightens me sometimes. You're like, you need a beer, or like you have somebody drop by and you're like, oh, you could have this, and you reach in like the very back of the fridge to grab something that you know is not from this decade. Like I don't like that.
Usually
it's one of them.
Usually it's something that someone leaves at my house that I am never, ever going to even try, or I have tried it and it's so bad I'll never drink it again. And it sits in there for years and years and years. Or sometimes when someone comes and dog sits and house sits at my house while I'm away, I'll buy them a few of their favorite limeritas and strawberries.
Coconut-aritas.
And they won't even partake in them, even though I've left them as a guest of my house.
You know, I've also had that issue myself.
Like, I don't know. Every time I house sit for you clowns, I like don't drink. It's not that I'm like, clean and sober living all of a sudden. It's just like, oh, I'm working, I'm doing 15 other things, and then I'm like, I don't know. Just weird.
Well, there's a strawberry still in my fridge from like 4 years ago that you can have.
I'll drink it at some point. I don't know when.
It's one of those big.
When I can't find any strawberries or any of them anywhere, I'll just head over to your house with an axe. Like I got to break glass. Like I need it. Give it to me now.
I was not as nice as Riggs, and I actually drank all the beer that I left you.
Nothing wrong with that.
You should bring that straw burrito to him on Sunday if we have a game.
That's a good idea. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Instead of getting iced, like with Smirnoff ices, John gets burritoed.
Yeah, chug it.
Yeah, because we did that. We did do that for a period actually in our league. We did ice people. we were children.
It's true.
When we were
fun.
children.
I never got iced. That sounds delicious.
Oh, see, it's not that bad.
It
Yeah.
really isn't that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not bad.
I think somebody made the game up just so they would get iced themselves, so they wouldn't like look bad if they were drinking something other than a beer. Like, oh, you got me. Oh,
I guess I
gotta
have to drink this.
now.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh, like, give me another.
Hey guys, I hate being iced. No, really, give it to me, please.
Starts icing himself. Oh, who left this in here?
Yeah,
You guys.
it's like in his own back pocket. He's like, "You guys are such tricksters. Oh man, how'd you do
You
this?"
scallywags.
Oh, no.
Well, if I bring the one that you left here, John, it's a big one. It's one of those tall boy cans. So
Is it a pounder
no,
or an ICBM?
It's beyond the pounder.
no,
It's like
it's a
the-
mortar. Yeah,
It's a
Yeah, it's
mortar.
mortar.
Okay. Not quite ICBM level, but mortar for sure.
See, because
Right.
I remember it was actually at a Johnstown trip, and I got like a straw burrito from the end of the bar, and I just pounded it. Like I just took it and did it A, out of spite because people are making fun of me, but B, because I actually like the taste of those things, and I don't care what anybody says. So like whatever. And then I did it, and then like someone's like, "Oh my gosh, that's like 9% alcohol. You're gonna die." And then somebody just, from our group just goes, "If you saw the amount he had a few months ago, he's far from death, sir." Like they just like some patron at the bar was all worried.
So, hockey. Nobody got to play any of this weekend, huh?
Nope.
Wah, wah.
no. Too much winter for the winter sports facilities.
Yeah, that'll happen to you.
That's actually something that I would like to hear from listeners north of the border about is, do their rinks ever close?
Oh, that's a good question.
They don't close. They just move. They either are in the rink or they're in the parking lot.
Okay.
Well, I think what is it Quebec and Ontario? Like you can't use public facilities right now. I think
Well, I mean,
unfortunately.
for weather.
in general, you're talking about in general, snow, etc.
Yeah. I mean,
I would.
yeah.
I also think in our area, I'm not saying anyone should or shouldn't close. I'm not going to go into it. They have the infrastructure to kind of deal with a lot of the snow dumpings they get and whatnot. I mean, me personally, I was really excited to play on Sunday, and I had a feeling it would be canceled. So when it got canceled, I was like, well,
Wasn't a surprise. Didn't.
I was in a shock.
I, for one, am glad it was canceled because I didn't want to drive in that shit.
Yeah.
That's just me. Because I don't live 5 minutes from the rink.
Oh.
I'm far.
Yeah. And we have to go across bridges and
I have to go across the bridge.
a bridge maintained by Maryland. Not a bridge maintained by West Virginia.
It's also like a land bridge, not like, hey, we're crossing over Rapids Bridge like they have to do. Like it's a modern bridge, Riggs.
It's a modern bridge.
Theirs still has wood. It's
Yeah.
wood. Yeah, their bridge has wood.
It's like the
Come
Oregon
on.
Trail.
Yeah.
Is it a courtesy bridge?
It's less of a bridge and more of a ford.
You gotta remember, there's a train that crosses that bridge and gets robbed from time to time. I mean, that's how old this bridge is. I mean, come on. Like, people are robbing stagecoaches out where they live, for God's sake.
Oh man. All right, anyway, let's go back to shit.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
Jonny has an idea to fix the All Star game.
Oh,
Oh yeah. So we're watching a little bit of the ECHL All Star game, which is kind of cool, which is right after the BioSteel All American game. Great. Logan Cooley looked freaking awesome in the game. Hell yeah. The ECHL has the Jacksonville Ice Dogs playing the ECHL All Stars. Years and years ago, they had something similar. Riggs was telling me, and I know they've done it like in various sports one way or another, professional and semi-pro, where they'll have the reigning championship winner play, an all-star team or something of that nature. I think what the NHL should do to get some of the teams, to get their shit together. I'm talking about like the teams that are perennially at the fucking bottom. Arizona, Montreal. I do think Montreal's like an offshoot this season. Like, I don't think that's going to be normal. I think Seattle's there. I don't think they'll be there forever this year, whatever. In Ottawa, I think they're getting it together. They've had a lot of weird issues. Anyway, mainly Arizona. That's who I'm grinding my axe against. But I think they should put an NHL All Star team and make them play Arizona, but not in Arizona. Fuck you, Arizona. They need to pick like a stadium, like in China or something, and have them play there. Like, totally inconvenience that team to make them get their heads out of their ass.
Oh my!
Like,
why? So the score is like 50-0.
Yeah, make it embarrassing for them. Like, and then once Arizona leaves Arizona, then we can return the format to whatever we want.
So basically, the end game is to get rid of Arizona.
I was thinking about this more and more with the All Star, because there were, like, I know Nate McKinnon came out like and was kind of pissed that Nazem Kadri isn't on the team, and Nazem Kadri is having a spectacular year. He really is, considering that Lando, Rantanen, and Mac have all missed time this year. Kadri has been the one steady force who's been piling up points on the even strength, especially. I think he like has 90% of his points at even strength, not all power play anyway. But you get teams from like Arizona has somebody, and I forget who Ottawa has going, but it's like, why are those guys even going? Like, why? Like, what benefit is it to the league that those guys are going? Zero.
I saw like social media stuff trying to get Kessel into the All-Star game from Arizona, because he's playing like a beast out there. He's leading the team in assists and scoring. Like, why isn't he going? Who is going?
But it's the last man in. So every team from each division gets a last man in to essentially just, it's a candidate that they didn't get in during the regular All-Star voting for whatever reason.
Right, but who the hell's going if they're leading a sister?
Clayton Keller.
And
yeah,
is it just one guy?
Kid you said that's better than William Nylander, and you were wrong. That guy.
Yes, I did lose a $5 bet on this, but it was close. It was close.
Until like week 7, and then Willie took off. But they have so I think Nazem, and actually the one thing that was kind of cool for like the Metro, Ovi is the captain. So out of all NHL voters in the entire Eastern Conference, Ovi got the most votes to go, which is, I actually like seeing that. Even as a Penn fan, I'm like, hell yeah, because I want to see that guy. I want to see. I sent a tweet about it jokingly, but like, I want to see McKinnon like horrified that Ovi is drinking soda on the bench of the All-Star game and like just seething, just sitting there like so angry. He's like, this guy doesn't take care of himself. I don't want to share the ice. Like, just see what he says.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah, keep his confidence at 150%, so he can keep blasting in goals. I mean, every goal that goes in, his confidence is going up, of course. But yeah, getting captain of the All Star squad, that's got to be pretty good. Knowing that your fellow players and everybody in the fucking world wants you to be or considers you an All Star. I think that's great.
The All Star game, I mean, we've said it. It doesn't have pop for me. I think at this point they should take. I guess it's different because it's an Olympic year. Take, women either from the Olympic squads or the PHF and do a split squad game, make it 4-on-4. That way, you can kind of showcase some of the women's game or do something to help actually grow the game. I mean, I know the NHL does a lot, behind the scenes that says grow the game, but I think if you're a casual fan to see kind of more of that stuff at the forefront, it looked good. I know the PHF was at the ECHL game tonight, but that would be good just to see. I mean, that's my only 2 cents on revamping the All Star format. I don't care about it anymore. Like, I'll watch it, but like, meh. It's very meh.
I want to go back to banishing a team.
Like relegation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're that bad and you're not competitive for a while, like there's a level. Go to the American League.
And then what do you think? Top 3 from the American League move up, similar to like EPL, like English Premier League.
Something. I mean, like that's European club sports model, right? But
as amazing as that model is, it can't work.
It won't work
here.
It won't work in North America. No, it won't work here.
But it is so good. Like it's the best.
Yeah.
I love that model.
Because it forces teams.
It makes it competitive. It's the best competition. It holds teams accountable. It promotes the teams that are doing well. You can't go wrong. It's fantastic. It's just logistics wise, it's not feasible in the United States. I mean, you can't just move a squad.
And the way that the businesses are set up, from a financial structure and everything, I think it's virtually impossible. And then also with the players' unions and everything, the way that they are, I just don't think it could ever work. But
everything would have to be redone from the ground up in terms of the rules, in terms of every it would all have to be different.
Yeah.
It's a shame because teams like Arizona, I mean, swap them with the Roadrunners. It's like I said with Buffalo. I mean, put the Rochester Americans on the ice. You might get a better result.
Sad thing is, if you notice, they've been recalling kids left and right from Rochester to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe they were listening. They're like, "Oh, we got to put butts in the seats, but we got to win games." So maybe it's me because the Arizona situation. I'm sick of seeing him in Arizona. I'd rather see a team that makes money. Like Seattle is not having a good season, but every time I've tuned in to watch a Seattle game, the building looks like it's lively and the team does compete. Like they may be outmatched and outclassed in a lot of the games, but they're attempting to put forth a good effort. Like Arizona, the team just seems like very lifeless. They get a few wins. I mean, they beat Dallas tonight, but I think they beat Dallas, but
something blind squirrels, whatever. I mean, every now and then a team's going to get a win when they play a team that's having a bad day. I mean, it's going to happen. You're not going to go 0-82 like that. The opposite of that Flyers. You remember that commercial they ran a little while back where it's like the Flyers had to beard, like they all had beards like crazy because they went 82-0 or something like that. Am I the only one that remembers this?
I vaguely remember it.
I remember
it. Was that around the same time they had like the NHL players in the hotels, or was that?
No, that was when they were coming out of the lockout, and
yeah.
It was like the guys were pranking each other in the hotel,
right?
Like, Ovi sent a bunch of room service to Sid's room and like all this.
That's
crazy
right.
Stuff.
Sid did the Ovechkin thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like Newman.
Yeah.
I remember it was either the year before that or right after that. So either pre-lockout or post-lockout. They had the one guy who was like in the hotel room and he had the boombox. He's like, you're never gonna believe this Swedish twins, and it's play, and the Sedin brothers is just doing this
Yes.
like weird dance. I forgot how funny that was. Like, because I'm like, someone in marketing like did a spectacular job of that. Because imagine if you're just a casual person, just like, huh? Like I could see people's ears perk up and kind of go like, oh, what? And then you see these two Swedish redhead guys just awkwardly moving their arms in the air. Like,
I want to go back to what you were talking about with Arizona, because I saw a meme on TikTok today. It was, I play a lot of NHL 22. So it was talking about how NHL 22 is supposed to be like EA says it's really realistic. And it took me a second because they were just panning around the arena in game when it was an Arizona home game. And the seats are just full. They're like, this isn't realistic at all. It took me a second, though. I was like, what's wrong? Oh, right.
Wow.
One thing that I was talking to somebody about this past week was Crosby not in the All Star game. It's kind of surprising, but I mean, he's missed a bunch of time this season, so
Yeah.
He probably shouldn't be off of. If you look at stats, I mean, yeah, he shouldn't be, but
I'm not clear on the selection. So I understand like the captains. So there's the 4 captains, okay,
Mhm.
and then there's everybody else, and then the last man in. What happens in the middle? I don't understand that.
think, so it's a fan vote. It's all fan vote, 98% of it.
So,
And I think the NHL does a little rejigging because of the John Scott thing they had a few years ago.
yes,
I'm doing air quotes.
Which, by the way, they should have rejigged him out of the game and out of the event.
That's why they got him out of the league like 2 days later.
Yeah,
Weird. He got sent down. I'm so odd. No way, not John Scott. But yeah, it's like I don't know. Very outdated on the All Star thing.
So-
I'm not.
So they announced the 4 captains, right? Have they announced the rest of those teams, or like, how does it work? I don't understand. I don't pay attention to it.
So they announced the rosters, and I think it's like a tabulation of fan votes / what the NHL wants.
Okay.
Like all those.
So Sid wasn't on there.
No, it was Jari.
Wow, that's wild.
Well, I think part of it's like Jari did, from what I saw, got a big chunk of the vote. But also, I think maybe too, they're like, Sid could have been hush hush, like, hey, I don't want to go. Like, I've done enough of these. Sorry.
Yeah. I honestly, I wonder
last
about
man
that
in for the Pens is Jake.
right.
because,
Jake. So
Yeah.
but going back to what you said about he didn't want to go. How many times does it seem like both Ovi and Sid suddenly get some sort of injury or get sick around All-Star weekend? I swear to God, it's happened like 5 or 6 times
pre-COVID.
where they
Pre-COVID
just
you're
like,
talking about, right?
yeah, pre-COVID,
Yes.
pre-COVID.
Okay.
But
Just want to make sure.
that's why they made the rules about if you sit out, then you have to serve a suspension of some kind.
Right.
I think it's like a game or something.
Yeah.
So
I think they did it like if you go as an ambassador, you're forgiven. Because I think
No, but he was
Ovi-
like for Ovechkin, like if he didn't want to go
He had to
for
sit
whatever
out.
reason, he just didn't go. And then he had to sit out a game once they started up again.
He was just like, nah.
yeah, I don't
not
know
going.
100% like that. I just
And it's to force those guys, I think, to like
Yeah.
think a little more about that
Because-
decision.
Anecdotally, I don't have data, but I swear to God, it was like every single year for
Oh,
like
yeah.
3 or 4 years
Oh,
where
yeah.
both of them were selected as all-stars and didn't go. Or
I would always get pumped up. I'm like, oh, nice. We're going to see Sid and Ovi. And then, nope, one of them's injured.
period. I don't think they played a lot together at all. So
Yeah.
it makes
and
sense.
I don't
think
think it's
one-
any. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's anything like, oh, they don't want to play with each other. I think they just didn't feel like going.
I think it's a maintenance thing, right? Like you're
Yeah,
just
it's a
trying to-
maintenance thing. They just
if
feel
you-
like, hey, I want to rest.
if you can get the 1 week break, to kind of get some treatment and heal and stuff in the middle of the season, I mean, I think you're going to take that opportunity if you're one of the star players and you're one of the players that makes an impact on the team's success, especially down the stretch.
Absolutely.
You know, so
especially when this news has come out that Sid's been dealing with that wrist for years. And it's like, yeah, give him a break in the middle of the season so he can get healthy again.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it. It makes perfect sense. Same thing with Ovi.
Like this year, you know, he wasn't coming back 100% once he did come back. And so if he can get a week off, you know, get some treatment, get some PT in and get some rest.
He's probably loving that, actually.
Yeah,
He's
all the better.
Like, yeah, hey, I don't have to go to the All Star game this year.
As they're starting to kind of build momentum towards the end of the season and towards playoff run, it's only going to help them.
Yep.
So, and same thing in Washington with Ovechkin.
Absolutely. There we go. All Star game solved. We figured it out. We know how it works.
Actually, can anyone this now that we're talking about All Star game and like I was mentioning the BioSteel game earlier, did anyone see what Bobby Clarke came out randomly like in the last week and said about Ron Hextall? Did you guys see that?
Ruined the Flyers.
How Hextall ruined the Flyers. Yeah.
He ruined the Flyers before he left by making certain moves.
Yeah.
Not in so many words. That's not a quote, but it's basically what he said.
No, I didn't see that.
And he was basically saying that the reason he was implying that the reason why the Flyers are in the situation that they're in now is because Hextall screwed up the situation so bad there before he left.
Yeah. That's what he said. And he really like had an axe to grind. He goes, everyone in our organization wanted Cale Makar.
Yeah.
And part of me wants to call bullshit because Nolan Patrick was the #1 rated skater that year. And yes, Nolan Patrick, due to injuries, has not panned out the same way Cale Makar has. Whatever. I get it. But that's the crapshoot you take, you know? And the other thing, too, and I'm going to say this in defense of Hextall because he hasn't really done much with the Pens, so I don't care.
Because he's wearing the right clothes now.
Yeah, that too. What was the major issue in Philly for a billion years? Oh, a goaltender? Well, Bobby Clarke never drafted a fucking goaltender. You had Roman Czechmanek, who was a moron. And look at all the other fucking idiot goalies you had in Philly for years. Like, God, Bobby Clarke.
I'm going to say this.
Out of here.
I'm going to say this. The Flyers have been ruined for a very long time. It has been at the time of this recording, it has been 46 years, 7 months, 3 weeks, and 1 day since the Flyers have won the cup.
That's right. Not in my lifetime. Probably won't happen.
And I would be loving it if it's another 46 years before they win it
again. I just like.
Could you imagine Gritty with a cup? God.
No, I don't want to. I can't. I'm not going to imagine it. I refuse.
That thing.
So it reminded me. This isn't a hockey thing; it's a baseball thing. But the year after the Red Sox won that World Series that broke the curse.
What's that? 2005, 2006, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I went to opening day in Baltimore. I don't know. I don't think Boston was there. Maybe they were, but this guy was walking in, and on the front, it's in like the Red Sox font, like the script.
Oh no,
the red with the white outline. On the front, it says there was no curse. ... And everybody's like, "Oh, that's such a great shirt." Like the Boston fans that were there. Oh, that's such a great shirt. You know, there really was no curse. They just, you know, got unlucky or whatever. He would tell everyone to read the back. The back said, the Red Sox just sucked for 42 years or whatever the number was. So there is no curse for Philly. They just sucked for 46 years plus. Yeah.
Do you guys see the price thing? So
Wow.
he has
Oh,
to
yeah.
start. He has to start his knee rehab pre-Christmas. Like everything pre-Christmas that he did, gone. Starting from scratch on the knee rehab today.
I did see that.
Oh,
So Montreal needs a goaltender.
Among
I
other
think
things.
I think Price gets traded. I wouldn't be shocked.
Even while he's
Really?
out.
Yeah,
What, they start to rebuild now?
yeah. I mean, there could be a team that just wants him on the LTIR too.
Maybe Arizona needs to get to the floor.
Yeah, again. Yeah, for the millionth time. Yeah, because at one point they had Chris Pronger and Pavel Datsuk's contract
Mm-hmm.
on their books just to get to the salary cap floor. Ugh.
It's
Ridiculous.
crazy.
We're
Brutal.
just shitting on teams today.
It's crazy.
Good.
Let's say something nice about somebody. Who can we say something nice about?
Realize Jake Gensel is on like an 18 game point streak.
Mm-hmm.
Jake the
That's
Snake.
pretty good.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Penguins are an easy one to say something nice about.
He did have a little break with COVID protocol, but
I'm honest, man. When they play like dog shit, I say something.
I
Mm-hmm.
would like to say something about Marc-Andre Fleury
Oh, please.
with the Chicago Blackhawks. He has, as of earlier today, Monday, a 915 save percentage on an absolutely dog shit team. I think he's a prime trade target, and I think the Washington Capitals should try and go get him.
oh god, no, I can't do it. I can't follow
Hey,
you on that. one.
Hey, the Capitals have a
Oh.
long history of taking Penguins players.
He's not a Pen. He's not a Pens player.
Previous former
He's
Penguins
not a Pen.
players.
Oh god,
He's a Pens player twice removed. So
twice.
Actually, you
He's
know
like
what?
a third cousin now.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing.
Okay.
The top two, the supposed top two goaltenders in the Caps organization are Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek, who respectively post, I believe, a 91% and a 90% save percentage. That's on a team that has allowed the second fewest shots against per game to date. They should have better numbers.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
So there's a problem. And I think that if you're able to maybe give up some things and go get Fleury,
They'd have to give up $7 million worth of things.
it might
No,
help you.
Chicago could eat some of that.
Right.
They could, but will they?
They could help Chicago with their future rebuilding with prospects and draft picks if Chicago eats some of that money. It also depends on what the actual dollars are versus the AAV and all that garbage.
True.
But I think there's a way to make that work, and I think it's something that they should look at.
Caps do have a lot of draft picks available for movement. I'm just looking at Cap Friendly, and they have every single draft pick for the next 3 years. With the exception, the only thing that's not their pick is the second round pick this year is a Winnipeg pick instead of their pick.
Right.
So they got plenty of picks to move if that's the route they want to take, like you said, to try to help Chicago out with a rebuild.
But I think that would be very interesting, and I think it would help stabilize things a bit in the crease for them. Anyway.
I think well, it's interesting you mentioned the Caps because I like that. Like, obviously not a Caps fan, but I'm like, yeah, I think I see nothing wrong with that because if you're a team that needs a goalie, and especially the Caps, like you have enough pieces where we've said this 100 times, like, can you get to the dance and then could you make some moves happen when you get there? The Caps are the team that can. They just need to make sure that they're not getting taken out by their goalie.
Right. I don't know. I think
I
the
like the little
goalie
tidbit. I really do.
That's a good take.
I think the goalie market is going to be weird here.
It probably will.
You know,
some veterans who have proven themselves, like you said, with Price. Even maybe Price does get moved, and I don't know if he's
Jake
back.
Allen.
I don't know if Price is back for playoffs this year. I mean, I don't know.
I think they're mathematically eliminated. Like I almost think they can't physically do it.
I don't know what the injury is. I heard you say that he's got knee rehab, but I mean,
right.
I don't know if he's back this year or not. But if he gets moved and then is able to come back for the team that he gets moved to, then maybe it's a viable option. But yeah, like you said, goalie market. I think some of these veteran, tried and true, tested goaltenders, they probably will end up on some contenders and turn some contenders into favorites. Well, who else could get moved? You were saying Fleury. I don't know. Maybe Price. You said Jake Allen, right?
Who's with Montreal? He has one more year left on his deal, though.
Montreal's going to go no goalie the rest of the season.
That guy probably didn't even speak French. Get him out of there.
Who is it? They have Caden Primo. Caden Primo's he's in Laval.
No, they're just going to play 6-on-5.
6-on-5.
That'll be better.
That'll be like an OFBG. The one time a team was up and they pulled their goalie at the end of the game.
Intentionally
to make sure they didn't get scored again. Well, that does it for episode 75, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. If you made it this far, you might be a fan of Beers in the Lot. And if you might be a fan of Beers in the Lot, you might want to hang out with some other fans of the show. And a great place to do that is on our Discord server at beersinthelot.com/Discord. Head on over there. You can chat with us. You can chat with other fans and have a great time. If we don't see you there, we'll catch you next week.